What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 40 of Blindside Sports. My name is Emmett Douglas, and we have a jam-packed episode for you guys today. As you can see, it is a solo episode, and there's a lot to get to, including stuff from my personal life that's going to affect the show, kind of in a good way. And it's going to affect my radio career that I want to get into. NBA playoffs are in full swing, and we're going to be diving into that, of course. I'm trying to pull out my notes here, but there's a lot of stuff going down in the sports world lately, and I'm pretty hyped for this episode, and I'm sure you guys are hyped, hopefully hyped, to tune into this. Okay, there we go. So I want to lead with the Philadelphia 76ers. My name is Emmett Douglas, and the 76ers, man, what a weird team, right? Like, as they were, they advance to the, what they beat the Raptors, they advance and play the Heat, and it doesn't go very well. And there's been a lot of talk in the media of like, who's to blame. And to me, man, this is just bad mixed with horrible. Doc Rivers is not a good coach. James Harden is not good in the playoffs. Right? You mix it together, it's like mixing two bad flavors. Or it's like mixing stuff that doesn't belong. It's like mixing vanilla and like jalapeno. Like, it doesn't belong, right? I think, one of them needs to go. And if anything needs to go, it's Doc Rivers, right? Doc Rivers, he hasn't done this before. And this is just James Harden's first year. Like, James Harden has had horrible playoff performances, right? Harden yesterday, 11 points. He did drop 9 assists, but 11 points being your superstar player. Oh, sorry, that was Thursday. He dropped 11 and 9 on Thursday. But you can't do that. You can't score 11 points being like the second, third option and expect to take your team to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's just not how that works in the NBA. I'm sorry to break the bad news to you. Tuesday, 14 points, 4 assists, shot 38.5% from the field. How are you going to win a playoff? How are you going to win a playoff game like that? And then you have Doc Rivers, who's not really a good coach. And I will say this. The 76ers did pair up. James Harden, Joel Embiid did pair up late season, right? They did pair up in February after that trade deadline with the Simmons trade. But I still think, that it just, like, we know the reputation. James Harden does have not the best playoff games. Doc Rivers is a horrible playoff coach. At least he didn't blow a 3-1 lead this time, right? Like that. I mean, that's a real good thing. Like that's solid. I gotta say too, you gotta feel bad for Embiid too, because this guy was probably thinking like, oh shoot, I think I just finally passed it, right? Like you had this horrible debacle with Ben Simmons last season, and then you trade for James Harden, which they should have known. But stuff happens, right? Like, so where is the 76ers, like, where are they going long term? I think they need more options, right? James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, good. But I was listening to my guys Brian Noe and VJ Husky earlier on Fox Sports Radio. Go check them out. You can download that podcast at Fox Sports Radio Weekends. And VJ was saying how the loss of Steph Curry really hurt the 76ers. I completely agree with that. Right? Like, it's pretty inherent to me that this loss of Steph Curry actually hurt. Like, the 76ers, they have Toby, Tobias Harris, they got Joel Embiid, they got James Harden, they got Maxey. Those are really their only guys, and there's some gaping holes in that team. I think the 76ers, they could do some work in the offseason, improve their shooting especially, and then go from there, right? Obviously, it's going to take a lot for me to buy that Harden will do good in the playoffs, but a lot, pairing up a player and a coach who, first of all, the player plays like absolute garbage in the playoffs. Second of all, you have a coach who is even worse in the playoffs than James Harden is. Like, at least James Harden's had some good outcomes, like, done some things, like I believe it was game 3 on Mother's Day. He actually played pretty solid. But after that, it just was not very good for him. And I gotta say too, this is not a slack to Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler was balling. This guy was going insane. Am I right? Like, go. He was going crazy, dropping like 30 points, all this. And like the Heat, I don't know how they match up like Eastern Conference Finals wise against the Bucks or the Celtics. It's Saturday night as I'm recording this. I feel like the Bucks are a better team, or the Bucks or Celtics. One of those dudes is a better team than the Miami Heat. But it is definitely gonna be an interesting matchup, and I'm very excited to see how it turns out. Right, very excited to see how that turns out. So, as a Sixers fan, dude, I would be so mad. I would be like, fire Doc. And I think the funniest part about all this Doc Rivers stuff too is Lakers fans, bro. Lakers fans thinking, oh, Doc Rivers is gonna fix our franchise. I don't think so, guys. I'm sorry to poke the bear with some bad news for you Lakers fans who've been going through it like hell lately with your horrible season and all the Lakers drama, but Doc Rivers will not fix your issues. This guy is a horrible coach. I think he's overrated. I said this last year also when they lost to the Hawks. Insanely overrated coach, in my opinion. Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports. Get me on Twitter at EmmettNosey04. Get the show on Instagram at Blindside Sports 00 or on TikTok at Blindside Sports 7. That is where I'll be posting clips of, from past episodes, from, episodes, or maybe even I'll give you guys a little sneak peek before the episode is posted. You'll have to wait and see. Go follow over there and grow the audience. Go show some love, all right? Also, if you're on YouTube, like the video, subscribe, comment. If you're on like Spotify or Google Podcasts, download, subscribe, follow, turn on notifications, do whatever you gotta do. But the most important thing here, share with all your friends. Word of mouth advertising is the best way advertising, as Ben Maller would say, because I always say this, but if your friend is going to recommend you to listen to something and he claims it's good, you're much likely more going to listen to it than from just me blabbermouthing and, just going and selling my podcast everywhere. Right. That's just facts. So yeah, go share, do what you got to do, show some love, and be interactive, because I love to be interactive. If you disagree with me, even better. If you agree with me, cool. But I think being interactive is the key. And with a podcast, it's a little bit harder to do that than like as we're on a live show where you can take phone calls or read your guys' tweets on the air. But, hey, we're making what we can do with, and I'm excited. Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports. Sorry if I sound a little bit off. I'm noticing this too recording. I haven't really talked like much in the past day, like enough to like notice it, but currently battling the cold, man. The cold's been going around like crazy, and it's rough over here, right? Talking, all stuffed up. I feel fine. Like I feel great actually, but it's just the nose is a little bit stuffy, and I probably sound really weird. It might not be noticeable on camera, but we're drinking water here. If you hear from the episode, it's try and get that voice back, right? To try and get the tickle away from my throat. But it's weird too, because I feel like these colds. There goes the mic. Jeez. I feel like these colds are more annoying than like an actual fever, because like you just have to you have like your runny nose the whole time. It's just annoying, man. I hate it. But the fever, like you just in bed, you just chilling. Thank God I don't have that. Knock on wood, right? I'm the kiss of death. I shouldn't say nothing. I shouldn't say anything about that. We're just gonna leave that one alone. Moving on in the show. Tom Brady is heading over to Fox on a 10-year deal worth $37 million. And Tom Brady is saying, look, this is not the right number, but still, a lot of money. It is a lot of money, guys. Tom Brady is getting racks to go over and commentate for Fox, be the lead NFL guy after his playing career. And to me, this is just look, we got to get that celebrity guy. We have to get that guy. And Fox is that big company. Fox Sports is the big NFL place. Like obviously we have NFL like Fox NFL Sunday. They get all a lot of the big market games. Like they had Joe Buck, Troy Aikman for a long time. You got to get Tom Brady to kind of see how that goes. And people are going to be so curious how Tom Brady commentates games that, oh, look, they're going to tune in. And also, like I'm trying to think of a guy who like not a lot of people know, like that aren't football fans who are just like casual, like Aqib Talib, maybe. Like not a lot of people know who like Aqib Talib is, but everyone knows who Tom Brady is. If you know who Tom Brady is, you shouldn't be listening to the show or you shouldn't be talking about sports because Tom Brady's just that iconic. So no matter who is watching that Fox NFL broadcast or that Fox NFL whatever, they're going to be like, oh, that's my boy Tom Brady. Sick. I know this guy. So, I mean, look, it's definitely a money grab for sure, right? Like it's, got to grab that celebrity, got to, make Fox some more number one than it already is or was, depending on your opinion. I mean, I think Fox is definitely, they do a lot for the NFL broadcast and they're all good at it. Like they have good guys, and that's not just me, who's a Fox Sports fan and who's interviewed a lot of Fox Sports guys. I genuinely believe that the way their system works is just crazy, right? Like, and I know the rep of Tom Brady, of people saying, look, some of the greats just don't turn out in the broadcast booth. I mean, I hear you. I do. But he could be like very average at broadcasting, right? And people would still tune in because it's Tom Brady. People love Tom Brady. I feel like Tom Brady's actually more of like a love-hate thing. People either really love him or really hate him. There's no in between about it, right? Like people are just in love with him, man, or they just despise him. Like it's crazy, right? Like, we have people like Rob Parker, who our friend, friend of the show, who hasn't come on yet, but I want him to come on. It's just a scheduling thing because I have school. But he hates Tom Brady. He despises him. He thinks he's a cheater. He thinks he's a horrible football player, not literally, but he does not like Tom Brady. You have guys like Brian Noe, who's been on the show, Tom Brady apologist. You have guys like, I'm not gonna put words in his mouth. Bobby Thompson, who's been on the show, Tom Brady apologist. Patriots fans, Tom Brady apologist. Buccaneers fans, Tom Brady apologist. Some of the younger Patriots fans are so delusional. They don't know what football is without Tom Brady. I'm a younger Seahawks fan. It's kind of hard for me to imagine it without Russell Wilson. I'm 17 years old. Like it's different, right? Like it's just to me though, this Tom Brady is kind of what Fox had to do. Everybody knows him. And I feel like I don't know, like just everyone like seems to like know Tom Brady, love or hate Tom Brady. Not a lot of people just tolerate him. It's interesting. Maybe because like he, beat a lot of people's teams and they're all just jealous fanboys. I don't know, but definitely a really interesting get for Fox, and I'm really excited to see what happens after Tom Brady retires. Which somebody said something on Twitter, and it got me thinking. Yo, this guy's a point. Do you guys remember when the Tom Brady story broke and it was Tom Brady's going to retire to spend time with family after his playing career? Looks like that's not going to happen if he's going to be calling games or doing a broadcast for Fox, like, which just makes that whole thing weird. Like, we haven't really seen something too crazy like that where a player just retires like that and then comes out like 2 months later, which was one of the weirdest stories I feel like we've had in a while. It was different. It was. And to me, that just made the whole Tom Brady's retirement story even more weird than it already was. Like, I was like, what the hell? When he came out of retirement on Selection Sunday, which is even funnier. Like, literally, like in the middle of Selection Sunday, college basketball is like one of their few glory days in the year. Tom Brady's like, let's come back to NFL. Right? let's just, all these sports radio guys, let's just scrap their NCAA March Madness talk. Screw them. Tom Brady talk. Like it was a Chad move. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports. You get the show on Twitter at EmmettNoC04 or BlindsidePod11. Hope you guys are having a great day. It's Saturday as I'm recording this. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. My weekend's going pretty well. Just chilling, listening to sports radio, prepping for the show. Tomorrow, gonna be watching those game sevens and, enjoying life. All right. The Grizzlies Warriors. This series ended last night, and this was a really weird series to me because the Grizzlies won round one and they barely won round one, if you guys remember correctly. Like, they played the Timberwolves and they came back from 3 double-digit leads against this Minnesota Timber Chokes. That's why I was on with VJ Husky last weekend, and that's what I called them. I call them the Timber Chokes, and it's really relevant because they gagged it away. It was really bad, right? The Timber Chokes, right? The Timber Chokes gagged it away. This team was such a weird team, right? The Timberwolves choked. They came and played the Golden State Warriors. There's these storylines, these dirty plays. All of this. John Morant goes down with an injury due to Jordan Poole, and then the Warriors proceed to get mollywopped, right? The Warriors proceed to get the Warriors won a very close game, which I'm like, okay, this is weird, right? No John, the Grizzlies are keeping it this close. Then the Warriors proceed to get mollywopped on Wednesday night, and I'm like, oh, what, hello, what is going on here? And then on Friday, which was yesterday, they were able to close out the series, right? And I saw a tweet from Skip Bayless, and I rarely agree with this guy. And I'm not going to give you guys my TV guy rant here on the show, but just know I'm not the biggest fan of some of these TV guys. But I actually agreed with this tweet. It was basically saying the Warriors they're playing the Grizzlies without their superstar, and they got too comfortable. And I think he was right. He was kind of alluding to what Draymond Green said, where, obviously the Warriors were, just comfortable, right? No jaw. They're like, oh, this is easy work, which, to be fair, you don't really blame them. Like, losing, John Morant, who's that caliber of a player, is just like, oh, I'd probably be in the same boat as the Warriors. So I think they're going to definitely have to step up their intensity level in the next round as they play either the Suns or the Mavericks. We'll know that, either later today or tomorrow, depending on like when this is posted. It's currently 9:34 on Saturday night as I'm recording. So yeah, that's going to be very interesting, and I can't wait to see, what happens with those games tomorrow and what happens with the Warriors. Steph and Klay Thompson are back, and they have experience, and I think they have experience over the Suns. Like, yeah, the Suns made it to the finals last year, but Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson have made it to the finals 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. And they've been in playoff games like crazy ever since, or sorry, before that. So I just feel like the experience level there is just vastly different, and it's going to be really fun to see. I'd like to see Warriors Mavericks, Warriors Suns. I wouldn't be mad with either of those matchups, to be completely honest with you, to keep it real. We keep it real on the show, even when I sound like crap. I don't even know if I sound that bad. We're going to have to check the audio after the show before I post this, because I might be ripping on myself for nothing. All I know is, to me, I sound like crap. To me, I do. Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports, coming to you from the Blindside Studios. Huge life news. All right. Now you're probably like, what is this about? What is Emmett talking about? Huge life news. If you guys follow me on social media, you know about this. You know what happened. But I committed to Washington State University to study journalism and communications. And if you know me personally, it was Oregon. I was an Oregon guy. On the show, I still am a fan of Oregon sports. I can't lie, and I'm not going to deny that. But there's a story that I don't really want to talk about on the show, and I don't know if I really can or should talk about on the show. I don't think it would be a good idea because I put people on blast. It's just really like the show, you guys don't need to know, but just know it was a better decision for me to go to Washington State University. And it came down to finances, the main thing. Oregon was, really cool. And all that. I would have loved to go there, but I feel like it was best for me to make that decision to go to WSU. When the weirdest part about WSU too is it's further away than Oregon or the other school, Western, that I applied for. What was from my house, and it's still in state. Oregon's not in state. Western is in state, but still, just a crazy note right there. And the question that some of you guys are probably asking is, will I still host this show? Oh, I just lost my notes. Oh, heck no. And the answer is yes. Are you high? Of course I'm going to host this show. This show will stay, and if anything, this show will be elevated by me going to WSU. Want to know why? College football. Okay, we're back. Are we? Are you serious? Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the show notes. Okay, we're back. Cool. Yeah. College football's, I want to cover that. I think it would be fun to do. Right? And, what the heck? Sorry, trying to pull up West. Okay, cool. So yeah, like I'm gonna host a show, and I'm even thinking, I'm like, do I start something completely separate just for Cougars talk? I don't know, what's gonna happen with that. Stay tuned, because that'll be more of a thing that happens when I go down there, and I'll still be active on Twitter and active on the show, of course, giving you guys your audio content to fulfill your audio needs, or your video content if you're watching me over on the YouTube side of things. But very excited to get this stuff going. I think it's going to be, a very big step in my career. If you guys know me, if you guys are obviously kind of guessing by, just listening to the show. If you don't know me, I want to get into sports radio. I want to host a national show. That's my goal. And I feel like WSU would be the next kind of spot for me to kind of continue that, right? And another thing I'll say about the Cougars too, which made me even more like excited to join their program, was, dude, they are rocking. There's so many Cougar license plates in Washington. Everyone just, when you tell them you're going to WSU, Washington State University, they are so excited. They're like, yo, this guy's going to WSU. Crazy, right? They are very spirited. And I feel like for sports, that's like the best thing you could have, right? Like a spirited, kind of super hyped, like fan base. And like I think it's going to help me as a person with this whole media thing that I want to get into and covering all of this. So yeah, there's 1 or 2 life updates for this for the show, right? For this episode. NFL scheduling notes: Chiefs, Chargers, week 2. Mahomes and Herbert are battling up. Now, if you guys don't know the NFL schedule, I did a horrible lead off to that. The NFL schedule came out on Thursday, and it was really just, NFL schedules are those weird times because we're all football junkies and we're all going to be excited about it. But at the same time, we kind of have an idea of who's playing who, but we just don't know when it's going to happen. But we're all so excited for the schedules. A couple games I'm excited for: Chiefs and Chargers, week 2. Mahomes versus Herbert. This equals fire. I'm really excited to see what the Chargers do. And I'm really excited to see what the AFC West does, because the Chargers have been doing a lot of things right, adding offensive line pieces, adding defensive pieces. They're doing everything to improve life as a Charger for Justin Herbert. And the Chiefs are just the Chiefs. They're that team, right? Like Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. You got Travis Kelce at the tight end position, to where they're going to be an exciting team to watch. I'm also curious to see what happens without Tyreek Hill. Will the Chiefs, will have a big effect on them? Right? Like it's an interesting topic, and I'm really excited for that game. And I hope you guys, I hope you guys are as well. Seahawks Broncos. This is another one. Week 1 Monday Night Football. How about this? As a Seahawks guy, this is a treat. Dude, this is going to be crazy because this is Russell Wilson coming back to Seattle for his first game out of a Seahawks uniform in the NFL, right? This is his first game out of that Seahawks uniform, and I'm really curious to see, what's going to happen. Like, are Seahawks fans going to boo him? Are Seahawks fans going to be like, yo, Russell Wilson, that's my guy? Like, what's going to happen? I'm really excited to see how that one goes. And also, there's a lot of questions about the Broncos, and I've talked about it before, to where I'm not really buying them that much as an actual NFL football team. I said that before, and the issue, part of it is the AFC West. That's a lot of it, actually, because I really like Russell Wilson as a player, not as a guy. I don't like him as a guy. He kind of led the Seahawks on to where that's why I feel like, for wondering, what do I think will happen with that game? I think Russell Wilson's going to get booed like crap. I think the Seahawks fans are going to give Russell Wilson a piece of his mind. Boo, boo. Lumen Field will be filling up with boos. Well, who knows what type of booze? Will it be alcohol, or will it be booing Russell Wilson? You guys will have to find out. But no, yeah, real talk. I think Russell Wilson will get booed. A lot of CX fans are very mad at him, and I saw something on Twitter. It's like this one guy. Let's see, pull. He's like, "Am I the only?" Is this? I'm not gonna name the dude, but he says, "Am I the only guy who still likes Russ?" There's a lot of people disliking him. I've been seeing a lot of Russ slander as of late. I mean, I feel like, of course, you're gonna see that because, look, the way this guy gave mixed vibes. I was like, look, you lied about your finger. You cannot rehab a finger 19 hours a day. It's not just that. You give a mixed vibes. You're like, oh, we're fine. I love PQ. I love Seattle. Blase, blase. And then he proceeds to get traded. And it's not like a willing trade like the Seahawks traded him. Russell Wilson has a no freaking trade clause. Russell Wilson has to be okay with the Seahawks shipping him off to the Denver Broncos for, that. And that's where I feel like, okay, yeah, like the Seahawks, they could have gotten a cracked offer from the football team. The Commanders. I hate that Commanders name. Yeah, the Commanders name is garbage. I'm not a fan of it. So, like, clearly, like, the guy just let us on. I'm tired of it. And, I feel like the boos from the Seahawks fans are going to be there, right? Even though people say 12th Nation is like 12th Man Nation is one of the better fan bases in the NFL, I still think, there are going to be some boos. And I'm really curious. I'm really excited for that game, actually. I feel like also it's going to be a good football game because Russell Wilson, I feel like it's going to take him some time to get warmed up on the Broncos, right? Also, another game, Rams-Packers in Week 15, and right now, even without Devontae Adams, like the Rams are like second or third best team in the NFC. I feel like the Rams are still the best. Obviously, like they're Super Bowl champions. I'm gonna stick with that one. Like they haven't really regressed. They had their same guys. All of this, and this one is really I'm really excited to see. I hope you guys are as well. Bengals are all over prime time this year, also. And how about this? Speaking of primetime, the Lions don't have one primetime game. They play at 1 p.m. Eastern besides Thanksgiving Day, and that's at 12:30 Eastern. And what a perfect segue. I know I had a really crappy segue earlier, getting into this whole schedule change thing, but people are underhyping the Lions. And you're like, Emmett, what the hell are you talking about? Underhyping the Lions, right? You're like, how? You're probably like, hello? What? How? How do you underhype the Lions? I think the Lions aren't going to be the worst team in the division this year. I could see them finishing second in this division. they weren't half bad this year, and you've made a couple. You've drafted a bunch of studs. You got Aiden Hutchinson. You got Jameson Williams. You got all these guys, and the Lions started to find their way last year. Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, TJ Hawkinson. That's a sneaky good offense. Like the Bears, I don't know. They just haven't really like appealed to me as much as like you think they would, and I feel like we're undersleeping the Lions. Obviously they're not gonna be like the next like Green Bay Packers or Los Angeles Rams like Super Bowl champion, but hey man, look, people are ready to call the Lions like the worst team in the league next year, and I'm not buying that one bit. I don't think the Lions will be the worst team in the NFL next season. And it won't be close. I think it will be like a team like the Jaguars, the Texans, maybe the Falcons. I don't know, but those are like the three teams. I don't think the Lions are going to be that worst team. Right? People, you could say all you want, but I just disagree with you. I actually really like what the Lions have been doing. I like Dan Campbell. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I like your other dude you picked up, Jameson Williams. I like I like that team. I like that team. The NFC North isn't really like that good of a division besides the Green Bay Packers too. So it's definitely gonna be really interesting. The Los Angeles Chargers, when they released their schedule video, I know the Lions had a good schedule video too. I got to find a way to like include these into the podcast. But the Chargers released their video with anime. They appealed to the younger audience, the anime fanboys, and it was interesting. Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports. Now enough NFL talk for now. We're gonna come back to that with the end of the show. So Jason Tatum, this guy balled out last night, but I've heard some extreme comparisons from people in the media, right? Man dropped 46 game 6, 34 game 5. Also dropped 9 rebounds and 4 assists. People are comparing him to LeBron James's playoff performances, 45, 15, and 9. Like people are comparing him to that. Jason Tatum is nothing close to LeBron James, people. He is not. Right? Like, really? He's good. Don't get me wrong. He's a star and he's evolving to that next level of superstar. I believe that. I agree with you. I'm not going to disagree with you on that topic. But saying that Jason Tatum is just the next like LeBron James and this playoff performance as LeBron James comparable. Okay, yes, you could say comparable. But if you're comparing it to LeBron James, who's had better, definitely LeBron. LeBron be averaging triple doubles, and it's not, even when he doesn't get 45, 15, and 9 or whatever, he still will come and get even like 25, 9, and 9, right? LeBron James has that way of controlling a team. I mean, like Giannis had like 20 rebounds in the Bucks were still the Celtics smacked him. Jason Tatum is great. I'm not disagreeing. I agree with you on that, but these overhyped media comparisons are just too far, man. Right? Also, keep in mind the Bucks are without their second option, Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton has been out for like 9 games with his injury. Right? I'm trying to read what it says here. Oh, 44 points for Giannis. Other than that, his helpers. Pat Connaughton, 14 points. Drew Holiday, 17 points. Other than that, Bucks were not looking very good. So I feel like, yes, Jason Tatum's performance was great, and we can't discount that. People are going too far, in their comparisons, but like, are we really shocked? We're in sports media. We're all consumers of sports media here. People do that. But I would say, look, there could be different outcomes if our guy, Giannis still had Chris Middleton. I really do believe that. Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports, coming to you from the Blindside Studios. Get me on Twitter at MNOC04. Get me on Instagram at Blindside Sports 00. Get me on TikTok at Blindside Sports 7. That's where I post clips and stuff like that relating to the show and relating to the sports world. Track and field update here. Unfortunately, I did not qualify for the 400-meter dash. Guide runner was sick, so that's a little awkward. Had to run with someone else new. If you guys don't know, I run the 100-meter dash and the 400-meter dash in the ambulatory division. I want to make a whole thing on that after the season, maybe like a highlight reel on YouTube. Talk kind of going over that, but that was the other life update. It sucks. I just wanted to share it. I feel like it was a cool story, and go over in my Instagram, my personal Instagram at EmmettNoC, because I'll be posting photos as we go from district to state, and it's going to be a really fun experience. Emmett Douglas here on Blindside Sports. Why don't we dive into the NFL draft? You're like, Emmett, the NFL draft happened 2 weeks ago. Was it 3 weeks ago now? I don't know. I've been a little busy lately. But I'm going to give you some of my thoughts. First of all, this Malik Willis to the Titans. How will this one play out, guys? I talked about my NFL draft thoughts last week with VJ Vernon Husky on Sports VJ as a sportsmanlike conduct. So I'm not going to go kind of too in depth with this, but I'll give you some of my quick thoughts. I really like the Lions being aggressive, trading up for Jameson Williams. We talked about the Packers that lead a lap last episode. I'm actually shocked. The wide receiver talent in this draft class was just so stacked to where like you should have traded up for a receiver. Like, what? I would have. Like, you had some absurd talents. You got to get Aaron Rodgers as next Devontae Adams. But then again, people like Lito Lapp, who we interviewed last episode, producer for Two Pros and a Cup of Joe with Jonas Sox, Brady Quinn, LeVar Arrington, said, look, the Packers are a team where like they don't really draft skill guys in the first round and it still works. But still, I feel like if this was your year to go against that tradition, this would be the year to do it. This is one of the most stacked wide receiver classes we have seen, right? This wide receiver class was crazy. This receiver class was bussing. Like this dude, it was crazy. And I like I said, I really like what the Lions did. You draft Hutchinson, and then you trade up for Jameson Williams, get Jared Goff another target. I don't know, like if Jared Goff could be their guy long term, but Jason Williams is a way to go. Amon-Ra St. Brown is beast already. That's why I said I like the Lions team. I also like what the Jets and Giants both had 2 first-round picks, and they both did decent enough with them. Kenny Pickett going back to the Steelers. Definitely an interesting fit over there. Malik Willis. We're going to talk about this real fast, because this is another story that I talked about with VJ Vernon Husky last weekend. And Malik Willis, he got, the Titans trade to pick Malik Willis in like the 3rd round and picked him. And then Ryan Tannehill comes out and says, it's not my job to mentor him. I completely hate when players say this. Don't get me wrong. I understand it. I do. I understand why a player would say something like this. And that is because, look, man, that guy could be coming for your job. But then again, this is a team sport. NFL is a team sport. National Football League. You guys are there to help each other. That is your teammate, bro. You are the... Okay, one thing. Oh, yeah, wide receiver. Yeah, okay. Is it still a little sucky? Yeah, but I said the same thing when Ryan Fitzpatrick, said this to Tua Tagovailoa when Tua Tagovailoa was named starter in 2020 for the Miami Dolphins. I said the same thing. This is a crappy move, and it makes you look like a douche. VJ Husky, we've mentioned VJ a lot, but this is my guy, brought up something that makes 100% sense, and I can't disagree with this. This shows insecurities. Ryan Tannehill is insecure about his job. We saw what he's done in the playoffs. 3 picks against the Bengals, 2 picks, throw 5 picks in the playoffs. Ryan Tannehill is a garbage playoff quarterback. Kind of like James Harden is a garbage, playoff player, but the difference is there's more success in the regular season for James Harden than Ryan Tannehill. There's way more success, and we can't dispute that. But Ryan Tannehill is like, oh shoot, if I play like dirt at any point in the season, and the young kid Malik Willis is playing better than me, this could be my job. This could be my job right here in Tennessee. It could be gone. This could be Malik Willis's job. And that's why I think, like, look, Ryan Tannehill's like, oh crap, look, I need to do something quick. Like Tannehill's like, yo, I need to just like, oh, can I do this? Like, it's definitely insecurities, but still though, you still got to fight through it and help your teammates out. That's what football is about, right? The NFL is about helping your teammates out. And I just like, look, this is a bad look. This is a bad look for you, Ryan Tannehill. Like, you got to help your team out, It's kind of part of being a quarterback. You're the team leader, and you're supposed to set a good example if you're that quarterback, right? Players often, look up to you, listen to you. You are the quarterback, the leader of the offense. So I think it's an incredibly bad look, but then again, it definitely just reeks insecurity to me. Say what you want to say about it, but that's just what it is. Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports, coming to you from the Blindside Studios. AJ Brown, this is my last thought on the NFL draft for this show, got traded to the Eagles, and there's a theme just showing that receivers are replaceable, man. These guys are just really replaceable, and all of this stuff, and like it's weird. Titans did draft a receiver, but AJ Brown was so good for them. I don't know why that you really could have paid him. But then again, I guess it just shows, kind of going back to my point with the Packers, how crazy this receiver draft class was. This receiver draft class was like historical. This receiver draft class is one of the best we've seen, if not the best we've seen in history of the NFL. Let that sink in for a minute, right? So that's why I just feel like, definitely makes a little bit of sense what the Titans are doing. And this is an A+ move for the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown. That's a killer offense. And that NFC North, or was it NFC South? No. NFC East, excuse me. It's not the best of divisions. They really aren't. So I feel like this is an A+ move right here for the Eagles. And the Eagles, they even showed success without just Jalen Hurts being Jalen Hurts. So, this is just a good overall move for the Eagles. A little weird for the Titans, but hey, man, the Titans aren't the only team who have done this. The Chiefs done this. The Packers have done this. And these aren't just, teams that stink like Abe Lincoln. These are actual good contender teams that are dumping their wide receivers. So I think there's definitely a theme behind this draft class. And the theme of this NFL draft is, if there's a good enough draft class, receivers can be replaceable. Right? Receivers can be replaceable. This has been Blindside Sports, coming to you live from the Blindside Studios. Definitely, I really had a good time with this episode, even though we're battling the cold. So, yeah, definitely a fun episode.